Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and that is a very impressive win by the Philadelphia Eagles tonight on Sunday Night Football against the Miami Dolphins, a very high-powered offense in the NFL. Both teams 5-1 coming into this game. We all know how, dynamic Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill have been basically this entire season. Tyreek Hill trying to shoot for 2,000 yards, being the first player to ever do that. So, and you got to give a lot of credit to this Eagles defense for how banged up they were in the secondary. They were getting to Tua all day long, and they held the offensive side of Miami to only 10 points. Miami did get the pick six to get that, the 17 on the board, but Sean Desai deserves so much credit. He's been doing so much with so little to work with. He's been honestly very good. Very good, even more than very good. Seriously, he's getting all of this from his defense. And they're so banged up. They're missing so many starters in the secondary. It's not even funny. The defensive front is always going to be the defensive front. They're going to feast with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick still doing things because he's been absolutely spectacular ever since getting that, little bit of a brace off of his thumb. So he's been amazing. Josh Sweat getting into the mix today as well. Fletcher Cox getting a little banged up in this game, but he still stayed in it. And he was doing some stuff today. So defensively, you played fantastic. There were, a little things that I didn't like, the 3rd and long plays that they gave up, the 3rd and 18, the 3rd and 12, the 3rd and 18 at the end of the first half was especially very frustrating. But on an entire scale of tonight's game, your defense played very well, and they hold the offensive side of the Miami Dolphins to only 10 points. So that is something to, feel accomplished of in that fact. So very good shit from Sean Desai. Jalen Hurts, there were some things that I didn't like from his game today, but I still thought overall he was very efficient. He made the big plays when he had to. There were still some mistakes that I didn't like, holding on for the ball for too long. He has that fumble. He has the interception where the guy gets right up into his face and he manages to deflect it. So that, a couple of bad decisions right there from Jalen. But he throws some dimes to Dallas Goedert. He throws some dimes to Devontae Smith. Throws a lot of dimes to A.J. Brown. Made some huge runs when he needed to. So I thought overall Jalen was definitely very efficient in this game. Running game was definitely a lot better than it was last week. Even though it wasn't insanely explosive, you still managed to get, some chunk yardage when you needed to from DeAndre Swift, and hell, even Kenneth Gainwell got himself a touchdown in the red zone in this game. Holy shit, the Eagles actually figured out the red zone today. That's a shocker. That is a huge shocker. I am very shocked, surprised that they managed to figure out the red zone. Freaking Brian Johnson actually figured out that you can pass in the red zone, getting Dallas Goedert for one of those plays with a nice, little bit of a block there by Jordan Mailata, and just, A.J. Brown gets down there, falls right at the 1-yard line. Jalen Hurts, with the classic brotherly shove, and then you get a nice, little play from Kenneth Gainwell near the end of the game to basically seal the entire thing off. Darius Slay getting a huge interception when Miami's trying to look to tie the game up, so that was very big there. So defense coming up big in a lot of ways today. Tyreek Hill, they did their damage. They had their, moments in this game. But overall, we take this. We take this and we ride with it. A lot of people were very scared, myself included, of this insane gauntlet, especially with the injuries in the defense. With Miami, today, you're playing Dallas eventually. You'll be playing the Chiefs, the Bills, and all of that stuff. You'll see the Seahawks eventually as well. So you had the slip up last week. Getting this win today makes it feel a little bit better. It definitely does. You come out against a really good opponent. They're playing very hot. Their offense is scoring in bunches basically every single week. You found a way to win. You found a way to win, man. You found a way to win. And that's something that you really need to accept there. And we still got to remember that this Eagles team is still good. There's a lot of people that are, disrespecting the Eagles, trying to write off the Eagles, saying they're a fraudulent team and everything like that. No, the Eagles are still a very good team. They're not playing their best, but when they can figure it out, they can put up performances like this. And when you're getting this performance from a banged-up defense and a banged-up secondary against one of the best offenses in the NFL, you got something working with you. Like I said, Sean Desai is doing a lot of things with very little that he has to work with. So, whether it's swapping guys in and out, getting so many different looks out there in the secondary, James Bradbury having to cover some people, Darius Slay having to cover some people, Sidney Brown gets back into the action, Nakobe Dean has to get in there, Nolan Smith getting his first sack in his NFL career, so that was fun to see. There's just so many things that he's been implementing into this defense. He's just getting everyone to put over 110% into the effort, and he's getting people to work. That's the most important thing that I'm seeing from Sean Desai, way more than I've seen from Jonathan Gannon, because, oh boy, I would take Sean Desai over 100 billion times than Jonathan Gannon's defense. My goodness, hell, holy hell, Sean Desai can actually beat a good quarterback. He can actually beat a good quarterback, because if Jonathan Gannon was back there, we probably would have lost that game. Probably would have lost that game, because Jonathan Gannon can't beat good quarterbacks. So there's so much credit to be given to Sean Desai. And I'll give credit to Brian Johnson too. He adjusted in the red zone today. First drive, though, he went back to the same old shtick of, running up the middle 3 times in a row. So I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. But overall, you found a way to figure it out. You get that nice Dallas Goedert touchdown. A.J. Brown doing his magic once again, another game, his 5th game in a row with over 125 plus yards. So this dude is just on an absolute fucking tear. He has been absolute money for you. 5 weeks in a row now. The A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts connection is absolute. It was only a matter of time before, these guys started clicking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So that was very fun to see. So if you look at some of the starts to this game, like you said, you get the field goal. You get the fumble on the second drive of the game where Jalen Hurts was just holding on to the ball for way too long in the pocket, trying to get the ball away. He just can't find anybody open downfield, and he ends up fumbling the ball. Miami gets the ball back. Your defense, though, did only hold them to a field goal, which is the very important thing there. You do go down and get that touchdown the very next drive with, a couple of good plays, chunk yards there from Dallas Goedert, and he manages to get that, nice, huge touchdown with that huge block by Jordan Mailata to give him all that time and space. So that was very good to see. You get that touchdown, getting closer to the end of the half. A.J. Brown gets right near the goal line. And this is also a great play by Jalen Hurts. He scrambles in the pocket, trying to find all the space in the world. A.J. Brown makes a great catch. He breaks some tackles. Sadly, he couldn't get into the end zone. He fell just short right at the 1-yard line. And then all you got to do is use the brotherly shove to punch it in. The Dolphins, they do get that touchdown at the end of the half. When the defense, they force them to a 3rd and 18. And also for some things, Miami was very, very, very undisciplined today. Eagles, no penalties against them. For Miami, they took a lot. And some of the penalties from Miami, too, was kind of bullshit. There was one Eagles drive where Miami gets called for roughing the passer, and roughing the passer is probably one of the worst, softest penalties in the game. I hate when it gets called, because all you have to do is breathe on the quarterback, and the flag will be thrown. But besides that, really, Miami, they got called for 10 penalties in this game, and they lost 70 yards because of it. The Eagles definitely did get away with some of those things. There was a missed hold on James Bradbury, a missed face mask on James Bradbury, but technically it got repaid because Jalen Hurts, the very next play, he threw that interception. So I guess that's, the gods working their magic right there. But Miami just very undisciplined. A lot of offsides in this game for them, and it was just them just constantly stabbing themselves in the foot. So, they had their moments in this game. They had their moments to try to tie the game up again, to try to take the lead. Tua makes that mistake. He throws that interception to Darius Slay. And, that was basically the game right there. Eagles go right down the field. They convert a couple of 4th downs. They had chances to stop the Eagles, but they can't stop the brotherly shove. And honestly, in the Eagles' own territory, the Eagles were deciding not to possibly go on 4th down. It was 4th and short, and then Nick Sirianni calls the timeout. He sends the offense back out there. They go again, and then they get another 4th down play. They do it again, and then they eventually go back down the field and score that touchdown with Kenneth Gainwell. So it was just a little bit of crazy stuff in this game, but it turns out to be a very good win. it turns out to be a very good win, and you move on to 6-1, and that's the most thing. Like I said, this is probably one of the more impressive wins on the season for this Eagles squad. Definitely looking at Jalen Hurts' stats today. Like I said, he was very efficient. Besides, like, the fumble and the interception, 23 of 31, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 109 quarterback rating. He was very good. Very good there. Rushing wise, DeAndre Swift, he had 15 carries for 62 yards. Jalen Hurts ran the ball 11 times himself, 21 yards there. And Kenneth Gainwell, 8 carries for 16 yards, and he also got the touchdown there at the end of the game. A.J. Brown, fantastic again, 10 receptions for 137 yards. He had that huge pass that also led to the Kenneth Gainwell touchdown. Jalen Hurts just chucking it up there. A.J. Brown in double coverage makes the amazing catch there, 42 yards on that play. And, that was basically the icing on the cake. Dallas Goedert, 5 catches for 77 yards, had the touchdown as well. Devontae Smith, 4 catches for 49 yards. There were a couple of situations where he did drop the ball, but he did catch the ball 4 of the 5 times he was targeted. So that was really good to see there from Devontae Smith. DeAndre Swift, he had 3 catches for 13 yards. Julio Jones actually got 1 target today, and he made a catch for a very short gain there for a couple of 3 yards. So that was nice to see in that situation. Defensively, what can I say? You played really good. Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis getting a sack in there. Josh Sweat getting 2 sacks today. Nolan Smith getting his first sack. Hassan Reddick just constantly stuffing the run. The Miami run game in the first half was completely non-existent. What was it, like a negative 7 yards total that they had? They lost 7 yards in the run game in that first half. They eventually started to get it going a little bit in the second half, but at the end of the day, they just, went for the passing game and just tried to find ways there, just keep getting it to, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And Jalen Waddle did leave the game, halfway through. Then he eventually came back, but I guess it was just too little too late. Tyreek Hill, you held him to under 100 yards. He only had 11 catches for 88 yards in this game. His longest was 27 on that touchdown play that he had in the third quarter. No, that was actually the second quarter, like right before the half. And then Jalen Waddle, he had 6 catches for 63 yards. Wilson had 2 catches for 48. The longest, I believe, was that 3rd and 18 conversion when Jalen Waddle was out of the game. Tua in today's game, he was 23 of 32, 216 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, a quarterback rating of 87. He was sacked 3 times in this game. So, yeah, defensively, you held them to 10 points. They only got 1 of those other points because Jalen threw an interception. So you did good on defense. You did really good on defense. So credit all the way to Deshaun Desai in this game. Credit all the way. And hopefully this is some good things to go for this offense in the upcoming games. It looks like they figured it out in the red zone a little bit, so hopefully that's something that you just move on in the upcoming weeks and you figure it out as you go along, and maybe you just build some confidence as the weeks go along after this too. So maybe that could be something. There might be a little bit concerned because Jalen Hurts did show some signs of, being a little bit banged up because you saw him running off the field at the end of the game. He looked like he was hobbling a little bit, and there could have been something, he was getting hit hard a lot in this game, so there could be something there. But hopefully it's just something minor because Nick Sirianni did say that, Jalen Hurts was feeling something a little bit coming out of the half. So that's definitely something to look into as we move on into next week. So we definitely got to keep an eye out there. But overall, yeah. Great game, boys. Great game. Great game overall. Cannot complain. Cannot complain whatsoever with the Boyds. Cannot complain at all. People were so, worried about going into this stretch of the schedule. And I guess right now the Eagles proved some of those people wrong. They had the hiccup last week, and we were very rightfully pissed off at that because that was a game that they should have won. But they bounced back, at home in the very beautiful Kelly Green jerseys because, oh my God, they look beautiful. And I liked what NBC did with all the, the scorebook thing and everything like that, theming it everything with the Kelly Green stuff. So that was also a nice touch. You saw the logo on the field as well. It's just a beautiful look. The helmet and everything too. It's just a beautiful look, and I love it so much. It's just a beautiful look. I can't describe it. I can't explain it. It just is. It's just one of the better throwback looks in the league. It is very beautiful. a very beautiful jersey kit there for your Eagles. And I'm trying to see if there's anything here on Twitter, just post game and talking about everything there. But still, just, everything after, this game. You can't talk enough about what Sean Desai has been doing with all of the injuries that he has been dealing with in this secondary and on this defense in general. He's getting guys to give 100%. A lot of young guys that are getting mixed into the rotations as well. Like I said, you're seeing Nolan Smith go out there and get a sack. So he's got to be doing something right. Sean Desai is, and you force some turnovers. Your defensive front is constantly going to feast. They're going to get pressure on the quarterback. And that's exactly what they did today. They stuffed the run in the first half, and overall, yeah. You needed a win like this. And like I said, there were some things that I didn't like throughout the course of this game. The third and longs that were given up, but overall, your defense played it very, 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 very well against a very dynamic offense. So that is still something that you need to deserve a lot of credit for. And then, offensively, besides the mistakes that you made, you were very efficient. You converted on plays that you needed to. Jalen Hurts made the big plays that you needed to. And when he gave the balls to his playmakers, they made plays happen. That's all you got to do. Give the rock to your most important guys, and they'll do the work. Give it to Dallas Goedert. Give it to A.J. Brown. Put the ball into a position to where they can succeed. And that's exactly what they did today. That's exactly what they did. And A.J. Brown just continues to have those fantastic weeks after weeks after weeks after weeks, man. Crazy stuff there. Crazy stuff. There were some situations where you probably could have had more turnovers in this game. I believe Sidney Brown almost came up with something there. But you got the huge interception in the red zone with, Darius Slay, big play Slay, as they like to call it. So, just some great stuff here, boys. Just some great stuff overall. And you move the 6-1. Moving into next week. I believe you're playing the Washington Commanders on the road. And the Washington Commanders, I believe they lost this afternoon to the New York Giants, if I am not mistaken. Yes, they did. They lost 14-7, so a very offensive, game, if you know what I'm saying. So, who knows? The game here in Philadelphia, it was a offensive showcase with Sam Howell, apparently. You won that game in overtime, but your defense did not play good in that game. So I would like to see a better performance from the defense next week against Washington, so Sam Howell doesn't look way better than he actually is. So that's going to be a very important game there. And then I believe after that week, if we're continuing to look at the schedule moving up before the bye, because the bye week is coming up very soon. It is. We have 2 more weeks until the bye week. Our bye week is week 10. So we got the road game next Sunday at 1 o'clock against Washington, and then we're going to have the 4:25 game at home Sunday, November 5th against the Dallas Cowboys, and then the week after that is the bye week going into Monday Night Football on November 20th against Kansas City. So, yeah, it would be nice to see a win next week, and then whatever happens with Dallas happens with Dallas. I believe Dallas is on their bye week this week, so they're not playing at all right now. Yeah, they're on their bye week. They play the Rams next week at home. So, it'd be good to get some, get a win before Dallas week, and then we'll all be pumped up for that. Hopefully the Phillies can move on to the World Series to where we can have, Phillies World Series and looking at the, into the, Eagles versus the Cowboys following that. So that'll be very fun to witness. And overall, just thinking about everything, because I'm trying to think of scheduling wise for the World Series. Just think about it, because if the Phillies do find a way to win the pennant, they have one more win one of these next 2 games at home. I do believe they're going to get it done tomorrow. And actually, for people that are here, tomorrow is officially a 5 o'clock game because the Texas Rangers did force a Game 7. They destroyed the Astros at home. So, they destroyed the Astros on the road in Minute Maid Park. So far in that series, every single road team has won each game. So far, the home team has yet to win. So we'll see what happens tomorrow if who can force the winner-take-all Game 7, if it's going to be Texas or Houston going to the World Series tomorrow. And I do believe the World Series starts on the 27th, which is Friday, I believe, if that's the case. Yeah, I think it starts Friday the 27th. You play Friday, Saturday, then it would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, maybe. I believe that's the schedule for the World Series. I'm trying to think. World Series schedule 2023. I believe it starts Friday. Yeah. You play Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then Friday, Saturday again. So just think about it. If the Phillies make the World Series, and maybe if they find a way to win the World Series, imagine if the Phillies win the World Series in the week leading up to Eagles versus Dallas Cowboys. Imagine that. Because the World Series at this point, it's scheduled to be done before that Sunday game against Dallas. So imagine that. It still needs to happen. I'm still looking way too far ahead at that point. But if the Phillies win tomorrow, they move on to the World Series, whoever they face. Imagine if they win the World Series leading up to Dallas week. That'll be something special. That'll be epic in my honest opinion. That would be very epic. But yeah, that's still, whole week's away. It's going to be a very long week at that point. So you got Washington Commanders that you got to focus on next week, though. Washington Commanders, you got to focus on. But overall, great win by this Eagles squad. Great win. So let's see what happens for going into next week. And then, for this week, we'll, mainly Phillies focused for the next 2 days until the World Series happens. If the Phillies do find a way to win the pennant, I do expect them to find a way to close it out tomorrow. So on the docket for tomorrow, like I said, Phillies Game 6 watch party, 5 o'clock. Game is officially at that time. So at least that feels better for me. So I don't have to worry about, staying up too late to watching a fucking game, because we've been doing that way too much. So hopefully it would feel nice to have a nice, late afternoon game there, early evening. That would definitely feel very nice, closing the pennant out right there. So let's get that job done there. We'll have the watch party as usual. And then throughout the week, because, Wednesday and Thursday technically would be the off day, but if the Phillies do win tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday would be the off days for us. So maybe we can mix in some Flyers content there, because the Flyers do play on Tuesday and Thursday, so we can talk some Flyers if that's the case. And then we'll have our, usual thing over there. So we'll plan it as the week goes along. So right now, tomorrow, Game 6 watch party, Game 6 recap will be that case. So definitely stay tuned for that. We'll enjoy that tomorrow as we enjoy this Eagles win tonight against the Miami Dolphins to move to 6-1. So I'll get to you guys right here in the live feed before we end off this stream. Corey, how are you doing? Eagles greater than the Dolphins. We kind of got lucky with the refs. They weren't calling anything versus the Eagles. Sometimes that just happens. Sometimes you got to deal with ref ball. Sometimes ref ball supports you. That roughing the passer, that was so stupid. It's so stupid. See you tomorrow at 5 for Phillies. Yep, I'll see you tomorrow, Jose. Definitely see you as well. Yeah, Kelly Greens are beautiful, man. Kelly Greens are beautiful. We were impressive. I feel bad for Hurts. Was battled up to tie the game. Was banged up to tie the game 17-17. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Soto, how you doing? When the Phillies win tomorrow, and the game's at 5 o'clock tomorrow, night's winner, Rangers Astros, Game 1 of the World Series will be Friday night. 3.5 days off, so to rest. Yeah, hopefully that's the case, David. I do believe that is going to be the case, though. I do believe that is going to be the case. Great defense, exactly. JaCrispy, how are you doing? Great win. We needed this. Looked way better than we did in 5 weeks, exactly. We definitely needed a win like this. The tush push saves all. Scherzer is pitching, so Houston will win. Oh, we'll see, man. Houston sucks at home. Seriously, there's a picture that I have saved in one of my chats here of Houston's offensive numbers at home compared to the road in this series specifically. So that's very interesting. Very interesting. So yeah. We'll see what happens as the weeks move along, boys. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow, first and foremost, Phillies Game 6. Let's see if they can win the pennant tomorrow in front of the home crowd. So that'll be something nice to see. So we can have a few days off until the World Series. I do believe they'll get the job done tomorrow. Let's hope that's the case with Aaron Nola on the bump. I do have my confidence in him. So that's going to do it for tonight, everybody. I appreciate you all for joining the live streams as always. So do not forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join the TTP Sports family. If you're new and viewing the channel for the first time, I would greatly appreciate that. Also, use the code TTP Sports, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. It is a great deal. Do not pass that up. Once again, thank you guys for joining tonight, and I will see you tomorrow for Game 6 of the NLCS between the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. So, I'll see you then.